Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. I'm Daniel Edmondson. Today I'm going to kind of continue off where we left off with video number 1. If you have not seen that, go back and click on video number 1 and watch that. This is video number 2. And what this is I'm trying to lay out what you will find in my new Art Masters program, where I'm trying to bridge the gap between classes and online videos and provide a format of instruction that's going to really be able to take an artist from, we'll say an intermediate level or a high beginner to a place where they will have good finished gallery paintings, and then provide marketing modules so that you will then be able to take your art and learn how to market it and sell it online. And as I've said before, I'm not going to limit this information to what I know. I'm bringing in all sorts of different experts in different areas to supplement my knowledge to provide you with what I consider to be the latest information of what's working right now for you. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this list that I'm going to provide for you, and you're going to get a handout of the list of things that you can do to market your artwork right now. Now, no means is this an entire list. This is just 25 of what I consider to be the easiest, most common things to do. And I'm just going to kind of run through this list and give little tiny descriptions about it and maybe some key points for you. And of course, in my course, we're going to cover all of these in a tremendous amount of detail with action plans and actual scripts, as well as a lot of how-to videos and all that, so you know how to do exactly that. But I'm not saying you have to have the course. You can kind of figure it out on your own. I'll give you some information right now on how to do it. All right, we got a big list, so let's get going. Okay, where can you sell your artwork? Everyone knows, number one, it's galleries. Galleries, galleries, galleries. That's what every artist wants, and it seems incredibly difficult for artists to get galleries. And I've got 5 different ways that I've gotten galleries in the past, and I'm going to present those to you. And I'm not going to do it all here because it takes a lot of time, but I'm going to tell you the number one way to get galleries. This particular way actually never worked for me, but it's actually the number one way. And that is to have a friend that's already in that gallery refer you. Now, of course, the catch to that is you may or may not have a friend that's in that gallery. So there are other workarounds for that, but that's the number one thing. Now, of course, we're going to cover other ways to do it, from online submissions to portfolios and some other kind of ninja ways to do it. And one of those I'll tell you right now is if you do see an artist in that gallery that you know or that you have taken a class with, try to get in a conversation with the owner of the gallery about the fact that you've studied with that artist or know them, and then it will maybe open the door for you to show your art to them. Anyway, that's just one of a bunch of things we're going to cover in the course, but I want you to at least understand that there is a multitude of ways to get into galleries. It's not just one, and it isn't just walking in the door and saying, hey, here I am, I'm an artist, you should look at my stuff and hang me in your gallery. You have to be a lot more sophisticated about the whole thing like that. And remember that gallery owners, chances are they know a lot less about art than you do. I mean, there are exceptions to that, but chances are they know less than you do about art. So don't go in there being afraid of them. What the one thing that gallery owners know is they know what they've sold in the past, so they will generally base all future acquisitions of artists based on the information they have in their arsenal, which is, I've sold paintings like this in the past, I can probably sell paintings like this in the future. So what you have to do is figure out how you can use that to your advantage. Anyway, again, this is something we cover in great detail in the course, but we only have a little bit of time to go through 25 different things to do, so let's move on. The next thing is online presence. Now, your online presence can consist of a website, a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a Pinterest account, a Twitter account, MySpace, a whole bunch of other ones. Some of them work better than others, like probably the best thing right now is Facebook. But Pinterest, I think, is going to be huge, especially for artists. If you don't know what Pinterest is, it's a site where you can go and you post all of your pictures, and in this case, be pictures of your paintings, Pinterest, and then you try to get people to interact and do something called repin, which would be kind of the equivalent of retweeting a tweet, and then it goes out and people should theoretically spread virally and people would get to see your art everywhere. Same thing with Facebook. There's ways to sell on Facebook. You can even put buy it now buttons on your Facebook page and have your art for sale right on that. And that, again, something we'll cover in the course. And of course, a website. Not only do you need to build a website, you need to get that website seen. So we're going to give you some information about that too. 'Cause a lot of people do their websites wrong. They make their websites Mary Jones and then that's it. Then unless someone's typed in Mary Jones, they're never going to find your website. Whereas instead, if you optimized your website for still life paintings of roses, for example, that would be very easy for you to be found because people are going to Google that. People aren't going to Google Mary Jones fine art unless they're specifically looking for you. So there's no stumble upon factor in that. Again, that's something we'll cover in the course in more detail, but it's something that you can research. If you don't want to do the course, you can go find out how to do that on your own. Okay, same thing with YouTube. There's a lot of people on YouTube. YouTube's the second biggest search engine in the internet now. And get your paintings on YouTube. And again, that's something we'll show you probably in the first month of the course on how to do that. Another thing is your email marketing list. Doing email marketing to your people. Now, a lot of times you don't necessarily even have a list because you're new. Well, we're going to teach you how to get a list and how to start collecting emails and then create a newsletter that we send out or you would send out with each of your, every painting if you're a slow painter or your last 3 or 4 paintings, and then you just keep delivering that information to your would-be collectors and giving them opportunity to see where you're at and get excited about your work and buy something. Here's like one of the biggest tips that a lot of artists mess up on, I think, and it's really hard to come back from this problem. What they do is they sell their paintings so cheap that they don't have a budget for marketing. And really what you need to do is figure out how much money you want to make, right? What do you want your salary to be? And of course, your realistic starting salary. Let's not start with $500,000 a year. Let's start with 30 or 40 or something like that. Whatever it is that you think you need to make in order to survive as an artist. And then because galleries, you're going to take half the money, 50-50 split as a rule, you're going to have to double that. But before you double that, what you have to do is you have to figure out how much your framing is going to cost, and you're going to have to figure out what your budget is going to be for marketing. I mean, developing websites and doing maybe some magazine advertising, hiring an assistant to help you do some stuff. All of these different things that you need to do to create the business aspect of your art needs to be figured into that dollar figure before you double it for the galleries. And people just don't realize that it costs money to run a business. And being an artist, as much as you hate to admit it, is basically a business, right? You're in the business of creating art and selling it. Now, we don't like that as artists. We just want to create and have someone fall in love with our artwork and take it away and sell it for us and just send us the checks. And occasionally that fantasy comes true. But for the rest of us, 99%, we actually have to work pretty hard at marketing. I mean, it's not to say that it can't be done and you can't get what you want and make a decent living from your art. It just isn't maybe as always as easy as what brochure said when you first got that Become an Artist brochure. Anyway, so let's continue on with our list. I'm going to go through these a little quicker, and don't worry about writing these down because I'm going to make a handout available for it. Don't think it's going to be ready by the time this video gets up and out on the site, but we'll make it as part of the final video, our third video about the course, and you can download it for free there. And this is going to be 20 some things that you're going to want, and we'll have like nice little handout that you can make an action step with. Okay. Next, there's interior designers. Now, normally the split with interior designers is 40-60. They get 40%, you get 60%. It's a really good way to sell your art. If you can get in good with a good interior designer, that's really a great way to sell a lot of paintings because they'll just keep recommending you to more and more of their clients that they're redoing their homes for. And once they get to where they've purchased one of your paintings, then you can start to cultivate that relationship individually as well. And make sure that you have the arrangement with the interior designer that you get the list or the name of anybody who ends up with one of your pieces. In fact, I was reading something once that Scott Burdick said, make sure that whenever you deal with a gallery, that you make sure that you get the names of the collectors that buy your pieces. Well, that's a little bit trickier, but it can definitely be done too, so it's a good idea. Okay, the next thing is magazines. We got magazine articles, magazine covers, magazine advertisements. And within magazine articles, there's two types. There's like look at artist Joe Smith, isn't he wonderful? And then there's the type where you write an article yourself for like the Artist magazine and American Artist magazine. Those where they're like how-to type of magazines. And both of those are good. Myself really pursued that, but we're going to interview some artists who have and find out exactly what the methodology for that is. But obviously it seems pretty straightforward forward, you just submit your images for magazine covers and for magazine articles that are about you, and the others, you just basically go through their process of submitting an article that you have written or have had written for you for a magazine article for like a how-to magazine. All right, the next thing would be tent shows and art festivals. And this is where, you go and you sell your art directly to the public yourself. Now, normally the art sells for quite a bit less money than what you'd normally get in the gallery, but you're not splitting it with the gallery owner, so you can kind of get away with that. Now, sometimes you have to be careful because the gallery owners don't want you selling the paintings for less than they are selling in their gallery, so you have to stay fairly close to that retail price. It doesn't mean that you can't offer discounts. And this is a good way to do when you have a tent show. Someone comes in, they like a painting, you say, well, I'm not having to give a gallery commission. How about 20% off or something like that? So that's another thing. We're going to cover that in a tremendous amount of detail. We're going to have a couple of guests that do a lot of tent shows, and they're going to give us a lot of really cool secrets. There's direct mail marketing, where you go out and direct mail people. A good thing for this is like a welcome wagon, where people have recently moved into a new house. Normally they're moving up in size. They've got more wall space. That means more opportunities for you to sell to those people. Framers, don't overlook framers. A lot of times it's much easier to get into a frame shop than it is into a gallery. And of course the thinking is here, they will take a cut of your painting as well as they will sell the frame that they make for the painting. And you know how that goes. People will spend $200 to frame a $5 poster. So if you got a price tag of a couple $100 on a painting, and they can get a painting for almost the same money, a little bit more, they're probably going to be willing to do that. The biggest thing here that I think a lot of artists fail at is cultivating their existing customers. All right. And there's a lot of things you can do to stay in contact with your existing customers. A couple of little nice ninja tricks you can do to get back into their home and show them even more paintings if they're local. So that's a really, really good thing to do. And in business, they say it's much cheaper to keep a customer than it is to get a new one. And I think in art collecting, that is probably tenfold. All right, next are commissions, like portrait commissions, as well as commissions for paintings. Always, always, always try to get your money, half your money up front. And when you do portrait commissions, don't let them direct you too much. Try to set it up to the point where you are in charge. And that's a really important relationship to get set from the beginning. It's kind of hard doing commissions, dealing with that, but it can be very lucrative. The next thing I want to talk about is doctor's offices and coffee shops. Those are both pretty good ways to get your art out there, especially if it's a little bit lower type of art, like your prices haven't gotten up to the thousands of dollars range yet. And I've got some scripts on how to approach both of those. But if not, it's not like rocket science. You can figure out how to approach a doctor's office and a coffee shop. And I have maybe streamlined it because I've done some of this in the past, but it's not rocket science. Now here's another really good one. It's called studio shows. And that's where you have a show in your studio and invite the public as well as your collectors list and have a show. You have hors d'oeuvres and put the paintings up and bring in people. Here's a secret here. Hire someone to sell your work for you at these shows because you're going to be busy entertaining people, and it's good to have someone that can help sell the paintings. And a lot of times artists have a very difficult time selling their own artwork. They don't want to say, hey, I'm the greatest thing in the world. You should buy my painting. They just can't deal with that. So you hire someone that can say that. Okay, the next would be group shows, gala shows, and juried shows. Juried shows we already know about. That's where we submit paintings and pictures to try to get into a show. A lot of times they don't have a lot of sales though, but some of them are very good sellers. I have sold some in juried shows. Gala shows, that would be something like where they invite 20 of the greatest artists in the area and then have a show. We have something in Colorado called the Governor's Show, where they will invite artists, and really they say that the artists are invited, but in reality you do submit to it and you get juried into it. And then a group show, that's sort of like a gala show, only that'd be where just a group of you get together and you rent a studio space and have a show. Everyone emails their list and you have a great show and sell some paintings. And the thing that's nice about those, everyone's bringing in their own customers. So these are already people that have been proven art collectors. Along that same lines, there's another marketing tactic called customer swaps, and that's where you get together with another artist and he mails his list and you mail your list for the other artist, saying, hey, this is Mary Jones. I want to introduce her to you. This is part of cultivating your existing customer list. And you introduce another artist to your list at the same time he introduces you to his list. And that way your email customer list almost doubles instantly. It's not to say they're going to run out and buy your paintings, but at least they'll start becoming aware of you. And then maybe after a couple mailings, maybe you'll get some sales from that. And the beauty of something like that is it costs almost nothing to do that. Okay, then on the converse of that is magazine advertising. Some people have had great success with it. Some people not so much great success. It's something that maybe you might want to test market, but it's pretty expensive, like a full page ads, like I guess in Southwest Art Magazine or one of those, it's like $2,500, maybe even more. But you can start with a half a page ad. I wouldn't go too much smaller than that. Otherwise, you just kind of get lost in the clutter, lost in the noise, so to speak. But that's a good way to introduce yourself to the art world. Landscapes, believe it or not, seem to do pretty well. As far anyone I've ever heard that sold right away off of a magazine ad is generally landscape paintings. I don't know what that is. I think it's just the overall demand for landscape paintings seems to be a little bit higher. Okay, the next thing is online galleries. You definitely want to check out online galleries. I was a member of a gallery called Daily Painters, and I was doing daily painting at the time, and it worked out great. Sold a lot of paintings through them. And there's a whole bunch of different online galleries. If you can't find one that works for you, create one of your own, and then invite whatever artists you think you would like to have onto the site. Another thing you can do is have a review site where you do reviews of different artists and have a review written about you and position yourself as an authority along with those artists. And then email that to your existing list, or email it to, put it on Facebook, put it on all those internet places I've already talked about, and you can just get tons of exposure and, again, position yourself as a master. Another thing not to forget is networking. And in networking, you basically go hang out at whatever art functions are around, wherever there might be artists and collectors, and just try to get to where you know a lot more people and make friends with people and, try to help other people out as well as try to get them to help you out, And the easiest way to get them to help you out is figure out how you can help them first, and just do what you can, just help each other. And I guarantee it'll come back. Last thing I'll hit you with is a really good one. It's called home shows. And this is where you get someone to have a show in their home for you, and they invite all their friends. This is a very powerful way to do it. And of course, you offer them either a commission or a flat fee or something, to make it worth their while. Give them a painting. Anyway, that's just some really good tips. And like I said earlier, I'm going to provide a PDF for this. And of course, like I said earlier, we're going to go in great detail on each and every one of these on how to do it. There'll be a lot of demos and handouts and all that distributed within the Art Masters program. And it'll be delivered in nice bite-sized projects so that you can do it without becoming overwhelmed. And we're going to just take them one project at a time until we've delivered all the content and everyone has been able to go out there and really promote themselves. And then twice a month, we're going to have webinars, and you're going to say, hey, Dan, I tried your technique about engaging a gallery owner in a conversation, and this happened. What do I do when that happens? And then we'll just talk about it. We'll hammer it out. We'll come up with some great ideas. I'll have great ideas. All the other members of the Art Masters program are going to have great ideas. And this is just going to be a community where we help each other along. We're going to have a Facebook page that's closed to anyone except for the Art Masters program artists, and we're going to just help each other, push each other to the next level, and help get ourselves into the galleries. And then maybe when we're in galleries, we can recommend the other members of the Art Masters program to come along and get into that gallery once we've been established. Anyway, fun stuff, fun stuff. I got one more real cool video coming out in a couple days, and it's going to talk a lot more about the Art Masters program and what it is, what it isn't, how it's going to help a lot of artists bridge that gap that no one seems to be able to bridge because there's just not good information out there. So check back with me in a couple days. Have a fantastic day. Take care.